Coach, you guys are coming off a bye week. You had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. What was kind of the energy coming into this week?
Excited. I mean, opportunity to go on the road and come out with a win and be bowl eligible from where we were this time last year is an unbelievable feat to accomplish. So I think guys are focused going into this week. The bye week gave us an opportunity to get healthy, got an opportunity to self-scout and reflect as we head into the final stretch of the season.
Speaking of that self-scouting, what are some of the differences that you've seen in the guys progressing over the course of the season compared to the last bye week?
Yeah, just getting guys to graduate from past mistakes, continue to set the bar high for those guys. So early on it was, alignment and technique, but we feel like guys have graduated from that. So we're trying to build on top of the house, even if that's from a scheme standpoint, if that's from a conceptual standpoint. We're just consistently trying to set the bar higher for those guys to make them achieve a little bit more.
Talked with you before the Cincinnati week about Keith Abney, his progression. He had another pick on Saturday against Cincinnati. How has he continued to kind of set the tone for that secondary?
Yeah, he's a guy that's very disciplined. He's a guy that's very detailed. He's a guy that's showcased a lot of stamina, and he's able to put himself in situations to create plays for himself. He trusts the scheme. He trusts what we're teaching in that room, and he's able to take what we talk about from a film standpoint to the field. So I'm pleased to see where he is. I mean, through 8 games of playing significant corner time, he has 3 picks. So, I mean, that's pretty productive. So if he can just keep up that pace, I mean, we got a really good player on our hands.
Yeah, I've noticed his energy out on the field along with the other veterans it's almost reflecting off of the younger guys. How important is it for him and those older guys like Shamari and Xavion to kind of reflect their energy and wisdom on those younger guys?
I mean, it's essential. I mean, guys have, a standard to live up to now, especially with that room. So to have, Xavion playing really good football, Shamari playing really good football, Keith kind of coming into his own. He's a young player in comparison to Xavion and Shamari, but he's able to follow their example. So to be a guy that's only played in 8 games so far at cornerback, playing significantly, he's a guy that's mature. He's a guy that, doesn't waver in the moment, So I'm pleased with his progress.
At a few different points this season, Kenny has talked about wanting to work more of the younger guys into the rotation in the secondary and using some of that depth. How have you seen that maybe come to fruition, or do you think there's maybe a little bit more work to go in?
Yeah, maybe not in our room. We're rolling, between Keith and Javen and LT. Those are our top 3 guys. Rodney, we're kind of flirting with whether or not we keep his red shirt. Do we keep him in the tank? And not waste, a game for that guy. So if we can get to the latter stretch of the season, I definitely would like opportunities to get Rodney one more game and then possibly the bowl game. So with those guys in my room, I think it's a little thin as far as that, but we have a lot of promising young talent. We got 2 kids that one turned 18, one is still 17, won't turn 18 to December. So we got some youth in that room that may not be ready yet, but the experience of what they get from a practice Monday through Friday, even though they don't play on Saturday, is still valuable for those guys' progress.
You mentioned that bowl game. Last year going 3-9, now in your 9th game you have an opportunity to clinch a bowl game for the first time in 3 years. How important do you feel like it is to win that game, to kind of get that narrative out of the way and focus on finishing the rest of the season?
I think it's important to Coach Dillingham's vision of Arizona State, to the trajectory of where we see Arizona State, to the recruits that we recruit across the country to show that progress has been made. So to be able to punch bowl eligibility this weekend in comparison to where we were last year, it just showcases that everything we've preached to recruits, not only in the 24 class, the early enrollees here, but to the 25 class, 26 class, 27 class, now they can see and attest that Arizona State is actually practicing what they've been preaching since we got here. So that is a great feeling to have this kind of progress in year 2, and the sky's the limit for what we can do at this place.
Focusing on this game, a runner like Ollie Gordon, a downhill type of runner, what type of role do you feel like Shamari will play at that nickel position of kind of sealing that edge and keeping him in between the tackles?
Yeah, I mean, very talented running back, All-American running back. We just have to contain him. We have to play, good team football. We have to make sure that, Shamari is not on his own, trying to tackle a guy like that in space. So we feel like we have to contain that guy, so we can contain him. I think we did a pretty good job against him last year until, the second half of the game. So we got an opportunity for redemption. But compared to last year, so much progress on both sides of the ball of where we're at. So I'm super excited and optimistic and really zealous to see the future of what we can build here.
Do you feel like some of those returners from that played in last year's game, and even guys like Xavier and Keith that were maybe on the sidelines for the game, kind of have that extra juice, kind of keeping that game in the back of their minds?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I mean, if you talk about Keith and Xavier, I mean, playing in the Big 12 is very familiar with those guys. The Big 12 is kind of a heavily populated Texas recruiting landscape. So oftentimes playing Oklahoma State, all these kids from Texas or from that region get an opportunity to play against kids that they may have faced in high school a few times, that they may have seen on the 7-on-7 circuit, you name it. You know, the world has become so small, so the Big 12 is kind of like an extended family of Texas high school football and Oklahoma high school football, Louisiana high school football. So it's going to be some familiarity between their roster and our roster. So you might see some embraces after the game of guys that are quite familiar with one another. So when you have that type of chemistry, that type of opportunity, it creates the juices for guys to want to showcase their opportunity close to home. I mean, you talk about Oklahoma, Stillwater's maybe 3.5 hours from Dallas, which is a hotbed of where we recruit. So I'm pretty sure a lot of guys have families, extended families that want to see those guys play football, and what a great opportunity in Oklahoma this weekend.